everyone, and welcome to La Luz. I'm Neus, people business partner for technical teams. That includes product management, data product team, and tech teams. We want to start this event saying thanks to Vuejs organization for including La Luz in their program, and it's an authentic pleasure for us to share this event in our house and in a presential way. So thanks, Jos, and especially Sergi. Sergi Garcia, gracias. Thank you for your help. and also many thanks to all of you and all of the online participants as well, because you are the reason why this is celebrated. So thank you for all the participation. Thank you. Let's start a quick overview. La Luz is a green tech company created 11 years ago by Carlota Pi, Oriol Vila, and Ferran Noguer. Our mission is to end the global energetic crisis. We started focusing in supply, and we are currently focused on the rooftop revolution, because the unique way to change the world is to transform our consumers in, as we call it, in prosumers, to generate of their own energy. Our purpose and vision is to achieve a planet 100% run by green energy. Our value proposition is 100% certified green energy from more than 700 independent renewable energy producers. By leveraging massive use of that data and technology, bringing them saving of around 100 euros per year, and put customer in the center of the operations. The way to achieve our purpose and vision is through our values. This is our es posible. Finding the way is how we make a difference, keep growing. Our mission is not easy, and it's important to align with focus and a strong team. Always people first. We are people working for people with people, and say things as they are. Transparency is our most powerful tool to build trust. Trust is the key pillar. And have fun, because our purpose is really ambitious. Changing the world is a passionate journey, so having fun along the way gives us energy to keep on. Our value proposition and company values are essential to be where we are as a green tech. Some of our recently milestones are: we are the first company in ESG, environmental, social, and governance as a sustainable company. Last year, we stand over 40% in terms of customer loyalty. This is a super high percentage. In 2021, we started the rooftop revolution, and at the same time, with the first merge and acquisition transaction, and we also closed the year with 318,000 customers. These are the 5 reasons why La Luz wins over their competitors. Our brand, Supply and Solar, a strong supply customers base with well-positioned brand, leaders in solar market with more than 7,000 installations. Our business model, distinctive business model, thanks to existing network effects among its revenue pools, supply and solar interaction, and one of the kind value proposition, unique saving for our customers compared to traditional green energy retailers, much higher margin per customer while providing significant savings for them. Technology, of course, leveraging technology and data to deliver magic discoverability for customer care, sales, product, and hedging, and our people and culture. This is Shake. These are the capital letters of our values. As we know, the energetic global situation is difficult, but in La Luz, we say we have the solution. Solar installations started its exponential growth, and nowadays the perspectives are better than ever. We want to be the solar category kings. And this commitment is possible thanks to technology and data. We enable technology to develop, deploy, delivered products and digital experiences our customers love. We use technology to create stunning and unique products and experiences which allows us to innovate and avoid commoditization. And one example is this, the tarifa justa. Tarifa justa, the very first flat fee in the European energy market. And we use the technology to increase profitability and supply. In supply, we use the technology to calculate proper power optimizations to provide saving to our customers. Thanks to this, we enable a lot of new opportunities and products. And who we are on tech area. We are currently 500 team members in Alaluz and 160 more or less in tech. We have between 4 to 8 teams per area. We have almost 30 different teams. Each team of them made by multidisciplinary roles. In each team, we have backends, frontends, product designers, and product managers. We have career path for engineers according to their different levels of seniority, potential as a junior, consolidated as a mid, reference senior, as a backend, frontend, and product designers, and etc. When the individual contributor arrives the maximum level of role expertise, we can choose their career path. The dual track is management as an engineering manager or then director of engineering, or technical path as a staff and in the last instance, head of development. As our perspective is to grow this year, we are seeking for some profiles to join our rooftop revolution. Currently, we are looking for backends, frontends, full stack, data architect, and platform engineer. If you want more information, you can contact with us, Esther Angril, Ariadna Garriga, or me. And you can also visit our website or QR. So that's all. Thank you for your attention, and now let's give away to those you have been waiting to listen, and enjoy.
Well, welcome everyone. The pre-evening meetup of the Vuejs Roadtrip. You are actually the reason that we're all here, together with our partners, of course, Waterloos. Tomorrow at Glovo, speakers. We've been building this road trip here since 2018, I would say. Sorry, my Spanish is not good enough to do this all in Spanish. So I hope you forgive me for that one. But we have been building a community here since 2018, and we really appreciate that. We usually run the Vuejs conference in Amsterdam, called Vuejs Amsterdam. But ever since, we also came here to build community, as well as in Paris and Berlin. Obviously, Barcelona is our favorite city. Sorry for the online viewers, I'm going to say the same to you. No. But we love to come here, and we have been building a lot of relations here. There are a lot of people here I've been seeing around since 2019. Obviously, we've had COVID in between. That was the last edition we did. That was here at Waterloos office. But we're really happy that we're back in person. And we could not be more grateful that we have the support of community, of speakers and partners that are willing to do this stuff with us. So please give it up for Sergio and Waterloos, and also for the speakers that are all here tonight. Big applause, please. Our next speaker will be Juan.
Okay.
Yep.
So will I start? Right?
I'll leave it up to you. I don't think there's really any introduction needed. One is from Dr. Aria.
Yes, Doc Planner.
And he actually also runs his own Spanish View school online. So please go check it out. I'm pretty sure that you will replicate the...
Yeah, I have a little slide about that.
I'll not interrupt you any longer.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the name of my talk is, as you can see, reactivity everywhere. And I know that it's very difficult to master something in 25 minutes, but at least let's try. Sorry. So it's, yes? Okay. Okay, first thing first, my name is Juan Andrés Núñez. I work as a front-end engineer at Planner currently. As just said, I have a platform called Escuela Vue. It's basically about teaching JavaScript and Vue.js. So you can check it out. And you can find me on Twitter at JuanWMedia. But let's focus on the most important thing of this talk is the composable pattern. This is a hot topic right now in the Vue community, and for very good reason, because it's, at least for me, the most important reason is because it's so easy to understand and so easy to implement. In fact, if you use the Composition API and Vue 3, you already know how to use a composable. Are the same ingredients you are used to, but we are mixing them in a more creative way, so to speak. I will show you in these slides. But first, we need the definition, the official definition, and this definition is from the documentation from Vuejs.com. And a composable is a function that leverages Vue Composition API to compose and reuse, the stateful logic. Involved are, for me at least, the most important part is compose, reuse, and stateful logic. That's so important for me that I decided to structure my talk in these 3 key pillars: reusability, stateful logic, and composition. So let's start talking about reusability. We will write a composable for each of one of these keys. But first, we need to know how to use a composable. I want to show you a composable. Before writing one, let's think of, for example, this async scenario. And we do this, at least at front end, we do this every day 100 times, right? We are using try catch, we are using async await, we are requesting some value, we are storing it in a reactive reference here, these results. And if something goes smoothly, we do some stuff with the results. And if something happens, some error, we throw an exception. And this is very easy. We use it every day, every time. So I think this is the perfect or a very good scenario to start thinking about reusability. How can I extract this to a piece of logic that I can use whenever in my project or even in another project? And this is important, right? So welcome to use async composable. And the first thing I want you to focus or notice is that word, use. And this is a convention using composable. Start with, of course, you can do whatever you want, but this is a convention in the Vue world, and it's use async. It's use and next the word that describes the functionality, that, I don't know, pattern, whatever you want to extract to a file and start reusing it over and over. And in fact, there are some key parts here. For example, we are importing the reactivity from Vue outside a component. It's easy to miss, but it's very important. And we are creating 2 reactive references, results and error, lines 4 and 5. And very important here, we are returning something, and every composable returns something, has to return something to be able to use it in our component or whatever. And in this case, it's very easy because we are returning a make request, is the utility function to be able to perform HTTP requests. It is the same try catch as before. We have moved that piece of logic to this composable, and we are returning that function, the reference to that function, and results as a read only. This is a tip or advice: always protect your composables. You have to have a very good reason to let the user tamper with the values. So by default, use read only to protect. It's like using object freeze in EXIS. It's the same. I don't know if it uses at the bottom, but I think so. And error is a reactive reference also. So how can we use this in our scenario? This is the original scenario. We wrote this composable, and we can use it like this. We are importing, and I highlighted the return part we saw with the make request and the results and the error, because that's why, sorry for the mic, that's the place we are destructuring. Results, error, and make request is the result of invoking this use async function that we wrote, use async. And then, since results and error are reactive references, we can watch them. We can watch result and we can watch error. And if there is some truthy value with result, okay, we will do some stuff with the results and send in the results value, little bug there, sorry. And if there is some error, we again throw the same error. And at the end, we make the request. Now we can use this not only in small projects. We can use it wherever. If you have an API layer, in the end, you are going to use try catch and async await probably. So you can use this abstraction and start moving this logic from the component. This logic could be in the component, but doesn't belong to the component, if you think. I don't know what happens with my voice, sorry. So let's continue. And this, as I said before, is so important that sometimes people don't take notice. Now, we can use the reactive APIs outside components. And this is the first mainstream way, at least, of doing this. You can do it with Vue 2, sort of speak, but now it's absolutely ready to use it whenever and wherever you want. And this is amazing because the whole pattern, the whole composable pattern is based on this. Without this, there is no composable possible, right? So this is a very good opportunity. In my work, I have to use Vue 2 and can't wait to start using this in our projects, right? But if you use Vue 3 here, you can start using right now. Now, literally. Okay, so enough talk. Let's write some composables. Let's do it live. And you know, if you do it loud, what could go wrong, right? A lot of things, but let's try at least. Because we have problems. And the first problem is, think about the keys, reusability. We want to reuse some logic. Which logic? Maybe you're asking. This. We have this amazing website called Black Cats Are Awesome, because we want to raise awareness about black cats. So I built this website. It's magnificent, and we even have some dark light toggler to change, right? To change the theme. So if you try to add another page, for example, a contact page to the website, sorry, and I have already done it. I only have to uncomment this line. And now this button appears. And if we check this button, we have thanks for your support, such and such, but we don't have that button. So I want this button in every page, not only this, but in every page. And two options came to my mind. The first is to copy-paste the button. We aren't going to do that, of course, but everyone here at any moment has done it. Don't lie. So, but that's not a very serious option. I want to use a composable, not for the button, because if you think about this button is the local implementation. Or composable doesn't have to know anything about the button, but about the logic behind this button. This is dark or is not dark. The users are selected a light theme or a dark theme. And of course, a way of toggle that dark, light, dark, light. And you can use it for a button, for a selector, for a select, or whatever you want. You can type it if you want and change. I hope this is being clear. So let's try it. And we have to start thinking how to use a composable with this problem, to solve this problem. And I have the first tip for the first problem. And the first tip is start with the interface, not implementation. Think about in and out. It's like when you unit test a component, for example, you don't test the local implementation. You test only the in and out. If I give the same ins, I expect the same outs. If I refactor the component, the test should also pass because I don't care how you do it. I only expect this result, right? In this case, it's more or less the same. It's tempting to start coding the composable, but it's better, it's a more intelligent way to think how I'm going to use this composable, how I want to interact with this composable. That's why I have here this in or out. So let's go to Visual Studio Code. And to be able to, I don't know, I have a change here. Let me remove it. Sorry. Okay. I already created a composables directory to save time and the boilerplate. For example, this use dark. Because if you think about, it's not use theme, because use theme implies that there are more themes. That light, red, dark, green, whatever. It's light or dark. And in this case, we have this in and this out. And you have to think, this composable is going to need something when I execute this use dark function? And I can think of anything, because let's check. This is not important, but let's check nonetheless. This is the way I'm working to achieve this functionality. First of all, super important, we are importing the reactive APIs from Vue, and then I'm checking match media, this media query. Is the user preference in the operating system dark? If matches, it will return true. If don't, it will return false. And based on that value, we are building an isDark reactive reference. And we're going to use it below. Next, we are selecting the class list for the HTML element because based on the isDark value, we add or remove this class. And with CSS, we change the background color. And this is not important, okay? But that's all we are doing. And we have a toggle dark method to toggle between one of them. So if we, again, go to the slides, remember this tip, and go to the composable, I don't need anything, so nothing in and outside. Again, take a look at this. I need at least a isDark reactive reference and toggle dark, because currently that's the only two pieces that I'm using. So at least I need those two. And I selected this example for the first example because it's amazing. All you have to do, believe it or not, is cut and paste. Oh, I forgot to add the out. Sorry, is dark and toggle dark, right? Of course, we have to move this line to the top. And as I said, we are doing exactly the same execution. We have only to return something. This out is dark, it toggle dark. So again, return, remember this, every composable has to return something, anything, at least one value. And in our case, it's dark. Remember, again, the read-only version, you don't want the user trying to change the value. You have to protect it. Read-only is dark. And again, the same with toggle dark. I think that this is all we need to do. Of course, take a look at this. We have no logic now here. All has been extracted. Of course, I have to import a composable. So import, let's see, this is use dark from composables, use dark. And then, like you saw with useAsync, we have to execute the function and structure the values. So I need is dark. I need, of course, if you need it, you can alias, or you can only bring back or pull back the is dark, or depends on the case, right? But you can do whatever you want. And is dark is the other, sorry, is toggle dark. Toggle dark equals use dark. And in this case, we don't need any parameter, any argument. And that's all. It switches from this to this. And it's exactly the same. If it works, I hope so. Let me refresh. And again, we have the exactly same functionality. And of course, we need to do the same in contact page. So all we need to do is copy and paste the request, the import. And yeah, I know that this should be a component, for example, the switcher, or something like that, but I decided to leave it in line because I want you to see that be if and that click, because those are the two pieces that we are using, but this needs to be a component. And use it here. And I think that we are all set. So the homepage works, of course. I don't know what happened to the button. It's the change that is before. Sorry. That was. Okay. Now, if I reload and change, and it's perfectly valid. So we extracted a small piece of logic, tested or think about the ins and outs, and we have used it in two places, in the homepage and in the contact page. But if we had 15 pages, well, have 15 pages, probably this will be another architecture. But if you have 3 more pages, we can use it. And not only pages, whenever we can toggle, or we need to toggle or check if it's being dark theme or not, we can import it and use it. And if you start doing this right now, in the end, you will have a little collection of composables that you can work in every project. So this is the first implementation. That was the first problem. So check. Reusability, at least for now, we can do something with a composable. But of course, we have another problem. And the problem is that we have to maintain the states. Because it's obvious, right? If you go to the project again, and you go back to home, and you change from dark to light, and you go to the other section, it's going dark again. Why? Because we are maintaining this state. Because in the component, take a look. In the homepage component, we are executing useDark. And this dark is this function. We're creating again those values. And the same in contact page. So what can we do about it? And we have the second tip, but before that, this is a very, very common pattern. Use the state pattern. Because when you don't need something like Pinia or Vuejs, you can make little state management places to store some functionality. And there is some key parts here. Again, we are returning a state, this reactive object, and we are using the utility function to rest, because if you try to destructure a reactive object, like a regular object, you will lose reactivity because JavaScript is using ES6 proxies, and it has to maintain the same references. So to refs, it creates a reactive reference for each property of the reactive object. So you can destructure with no problem. And set state, and read only again. But the most important thing is this. This piece of state is outside the function. It's outside the function. It isn't there. It isn't inside. So this means that this composable isn't stateless anymore. It's stateful. We are saving the state. The first time, this state will be created, and subsequent times won't be overwritten. It's going to be used, the last value, and the last value, if you have properties, at the end, you have a very big object with all the state, and that's exactly what we need. But we have the tip number 2. You can toggle between a stateful or a stateless composable in the blink of an eye, just like this. Let me show you, because many of you, I'm sure, have spotted something here. And if we go to our useDark composable, the blink of an eye is this. I can do exactly this. Maybe, okay, HTML class list is not a reactive reference, but we don't need to get into the DOM in each iteration and each execution and get the same value. So now is or is dark, sorry, and is dark, are created one time. And if we keep using useDark, it won't be overwritten. So this means that now, if we come back to the web page, and for example, I use the light theme and go back to home, we are maintaining the state. It's that easy to change a stateless composable. And by the way, a little advice, I suggest you the same like with read only. Always create stateless composables. You have to have a very valid reason to store the state. But if you need to store the state, you can just move outside of the function, the properties, yeah, ref, reactive, doesn't matter, outside of that place. And then just by making that, a composable is stateful, not stateless. So again, if we change the page, now the like theme stays. So I think that's check for stateful logic. The second key, be a composable or doing something with a composable, we can achieve stateful logic only using the reactive APIs of Vue 3. But of course, we have another problem. The problem number 3, that is persisting the state. What do I mean by that? It's pretty obvious, right? If we go to the home, and if I reload the page, it defaults to the dark theme again. Why? Because we aren't saving this user selection anywhere. So we have many options, right? But I think that this is not a problem using local storage for this case. We only have to save a flag of true or false. It's nothing critical. But I have a tip, the third tip for the third project. And it's like a tongue twister, I know, but it's compose composables. Why? Because one composable can call another composable, creating small pieces of logic that you can mix and match as you like. And by the way, this idea has been executed, right? Do you know Vuejs? Okay, but this is exactly that. It's a mega library of amazing composables that you can use even in your Vue 2 projects, I think. So what can we do? How can we put this tip into practice? Okay, let's move to our code. And I've created a use storage composable. So again, let's think of ins and outs. And again, I can think of at least 4 ways of doing this. You have to decide, right? But in my case, I think that for the in, I need a storage key. At least I don't want to check all the local storage. I want a particular key to check. So when I execute that use storage, I have to provide that storage key. And if I need to check another piece of this local storage, okay, I import this function and execute again with another key. So let's do it now. Storage key, and let's provide a default value of I don't know, Vue store, for example. And for out, what do I need? Because at least I need a storage reactive reference, because we are using Vue 3, right? We're using reactivity. I want a reactive reference to the storage, not a regular reference. And I want to set the storage. I want to know storage. I want to know what's on the storage. I want to be notified when the storage changes, storage under the storage key. And of course, I want to save something in the storage. So I need this set storage method. So first thing first, let's create const storage equal a ref. And you can build a reactive object of all the local storage, and each one of those properties as a storage object. It will be a stateful storage composable, little bit different, more generic, but I think this implementation is good because we are only using to a particular key. But we have created a reactive reference with null as a default value, and now when we load this user storage, I want to grab everything that is under this storage key and put it in storage. So storage value equals JSON parse, of course, and local storage. And of course, it's a very naive implementation because in real world, we should check, are we in a DOM environment do we have access to window or document? Or for example, are in Node? If you are using server-side rendering, you are screwed, right? But this is just the basics to make a point. So local storage, get item, the storage key. So whenever this starts, we hydrate the storage value, with, if there is something right now in the local storage, we store it in local in storage. Then we should write the set storage method, right? So const set storage equals, I need a value, and then storage value equals value. Maybe you are thinking, how can I keep track of the local storage object? Because we are only, if we are using set storage, we aren't saving anything right now. Okay, what we can do is, storage is a reactive object, so we can watch it, right? And by the way, we need ref also. Okay, watch, what's what? Watch storage, and I don't care, the new value, the old value, doesn't matter to me. Has changed, and this is enough. So what I should do is the other way we are getting from the item for the local storage. Now we have to set in the local storage. So again, we can do local storage, set item on this storage key, right? Sorry, I don't know what happens. And it will be JSON stringify. We can use a storage value, but I prefer to use unref. Unref is a little utility function that will unwrap a reactive value and throw the original value. And if it isn't that reactive value, it will return directly the value. And this is amazing because, and this is a very good pattern, because if you use unref in your composable, you can start accepting reactive values or non-reactive values. It doesn't matter. If you check, and if it is reactive, continue. If it isn't, no problem. So, unref storage. And of course, we need to return. So let's return, of course, storage, the read-only version. I imported the reactive, is read-only, sorry, of storage, and set storage. And now let's check if this works. And we have at least two ways. We can use this composable here in homepage or in contact page or any component, and there's no problem with that. You can do it perfectly. But since we are talking about composing composables, let's try to use it here in use dark. And this is another very common pattern. In view use, for example, if you check the code, there are some examples that uses 4 or 5 composables in one file. So it's very, very common. If they are atomic enough, there is no problem. There is no collision, no overlap, right? So in this case, it's very, very easy because very naive implementation also, but let's import the use storage here. Let's execute the function, const the structure first, storage, and use, set storage. Sorry, I forgot, is set storage, right? Equals use storage, and don't forget, we need to provide, we have a default value here, but I would like to provide a key. For example, view black cat, or something like that. And now, how can we use this storage reactive reference and this set storage methods? For example, here we are checking if the user has selected the dark theme in his preferences, the operating system. We can say, okay, storage value, and if storage value is null or undefined, then we use the preference. But if there is some value there, let's use it. And that will take care of the starting value. But if I start toggling and changing the value, how can I use this set storage method? For example, here I can use yes, I can do set storage, is dark value, but take a look at this. Since we are already watching, it's no problem doing this. Set storage is dark, value. And let me check if this gives some kind of error. I don't know, maybe not. You can see here we have this view black hat true. And if we change to light, then this has persisted. This piece of state is persisted on local storage. So we have composables in a at least a very little creative way, right? We are using those two isolated pieces of logic to achieve something, right? Use dark and use storage. I want you to think of use a sink and use intersecting observer API, or create one for each DOM API that you use over and over. And it's not only a DOM API, it's a reactive reference to the DOM API. So this is something that the vanilla API doesn't have. Okay, so of course we check, we have reusability, we have stateful logic, and we have composition, all by using composables. So just to finish, there are two main takeaways, and this is ultra important. The first is now we can extract and reuse Vuejs reactivity outside components for the first time. This is incredible now. And the consequence of that, the first main takeaway, is this. Every piece of code using reactivity now can be extracted and reused as a composable. I want you to think of your components. All that logic, all that code that lives there can be extracted, because this is my final question, and it's this. How much of your component's logic really belongs to the component? Or the other way around, how much of that logic can, maybe should be extracted to a composable, right? And if you start thinking, I hope you keep thinking on this, your components will be happier and fitter. I can assure you that. And this is the end of my talk. So thank you for your attention. If you have any question, I will try my best to answer.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Anybody, any questions? Not all at the same time. I think it was so clear that nobody has any questions.
I hope so. so boring that.
I don't think that was the case. Well, Juan, thank you so much for your
Thank
talk.
you.
And well, big applause.
Thank you.
Up next is Eduard. Eduard is from the Olaluz team. I met Eduard in 2019, I think it was. Yeah. Here in the office when we did Roadtrip here. And he's going to talk about product testing.
Yeah. Okay,
Q3
let
and
me.
Cypress 10, if I'm completely correct.
Yeah, it worked for Vue 2 as well. So just letting you know. Give me a sec.
Oh, let's take time.
Right. I'm supposed to. Oops, it's not going there. Cool. Oh yeah, I have to share the screen. Yeah, I'm on it now. Give me a second. There's one point. Am I sharing it now?
Yeah.
It should be okay. Yeah, cool.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Well, hello everyone. My name is Eduard Ferrer, as just said, and today I'm here to introduce you a different approach about how you could test your product using Vue 3 and Cypress. Before we start, a little bit about me. As I said, my name is Eduard Ferrer, but I go by Edu, so feel free to call me like that. I live here in Barcelona, even though my Catalan is a bit weird, so I'm not from Barcelona. I'm front-end developer here at Olaluz. I'm also a contributor of the Vue testing library. And in my free time, I like to climb mostly. I like to hike, board games, going out with my friends, have some beers, like normal stuff. Cool, so let's move on. Why product testing? You all look like a really smart group of people, and I couldn't explain that to you, but I think it's better if I just show you, right? Yeah, so thanks for coming to my TED Talk. No, let's go back again. I think this is actually a really nice scenario, because whatever you're trying to release, the quality assurance team is not allowing you to get that to production. But just think about that, and like the ones who are like getting all those issues are the users. That shouldn't be acceptable, because the users should be the center of your product. The users are going to be like the main reason you're developing that product, to try to give them more value, right? So once again, why we product test? We product test to make sure we deliver that expected value to the end user, right? We want to make sure that everything works as it should. I would like to know how many of you didn't deploy anything on a Friday afternoon, because it was a Friday afternoon. Yeah, I think we all have been there. Nice, because when you do test your work, you get confidence about the things you are implementing, right? Your teammates trust in the work you do, and the users trusting the product you are delivering to them. Also, every time that something breaks, business is losing money, and not just that. Just imagine you've been working on a feature per se, right? And you deliver that. It's been a couple of weeks, and then something happened, and they go back to you, and it's like, oh, now this is not working. You have to fix it. And it's like, no, but now I'm working on a different feature. I don't want to do that anymore. Why should? Because first of all, you forgot, so you go clean your mess. No, but like it's a change of mind, a change of focus. It's not always the best approach we can have. So, yeah, I'm a short guy. So I think it's always way better if we just test the product before kind of releasing it. And our code always has two types of audiences, right? They have, like, of course, the final user, but they also have some other developers. And well-written test, they can serve as documentation. Yeah, I've said that. But when you have a nice test, when you have all the use cases of some feature you're releasing, it doesn't matter if it's another developer. It doesn't matter if it's your future self. You can go there, read what the fuck is happening there. Sorry for that. And then just understand what the feature should be doing. Nice. How are we gonna do it? Of course, Vue 3, huh? It's the new black. Who doesn't like Vue 3? No, actually, Vue 2 has set his, it's end of life by September 2023. So it wouldn't make a lot of sense to start right now a project which uses Vue 2, right? It's gonna have like 1 year life, so Vue 3 is the way to go. And because of the new scaffolding tune they're using, Cypress now, it's like one of the prompts. Just letting you know, this is Cypress 10, so it also includes component testing. But today's approach, the only difference is going to be different. It's going to be the way we set the plugin, basically. I don't know if you test it, if you tried Cypress 10, but the config file just changes a bit on the way it works. We're going to be using Cypress testing library. I love Cypress testing library. I've been using it for a while. It just basically promotes total decoupling of the test and the HTML details like IDs, classes. You don't want your test to fail because you changed a class name and now it's not button pink, it's button blue. And it's pretty easy, straightforward to use it. Basically, you install it, you import the commands, and then this is a bit for Vue 2 and Vue 3. You can add it in your end-to-end TS config, and then you'll have all the types there, or you can add it in the component testing as well, and you can use them as well. And for last and not least, Cucumber. We're going to be using Cucumber's 5-pair processor. The ones of you who don't know what Cucumber is a framework that helps us to kind of test. It's called BDD. It's like behavior-driven development, right? So we basically test the things as they should behave. And not just that, all these pinky words you're seeing here, that's Gherkin's syntax. Gherkin's syntax is a really easy human-readable language, which help us, for me, and that's what brings the most value out of it, helps us create this bridge between business people and technical people, right? For example, we use this here at Holaluz, and sometimes I'm just sitting down with my product manager, and she's like, "Oh no, we're gonna release this thing, and it should work like that, or this kind of user should have this kind of segmentation." I'm like, "Cool, I can use all this for my tests." You know, like you're breaking down the rules that the product will have, and I'm just gonna implement those steps in order to make sure that's how the product we're gonna release behaves, right? Yeah, a little bit about how Gherkins works. We've got a feature, basically describes the software feature we're gonna test. We've got background. Background is like, it's kind of like a group of the given step, which is basically useful to create context, right? The background thing is just like executed before each of the use cases, which are called scenarios here. So basically we've got feature and the scenarios, you know, like the feature we're gonna release, the use cases we're gonna test, and then each of these use cases are defined using these steps. Nice. So let's move on to the demo time. I really hope you like cats, because it's gonna be a lot of cats involved. I'll need a second because I need to change this for the code. Wait, give me a sec. Where is that? Oh, here. Nice. Hmm? Oh my God. Right. Oh, you're not seeing it. Oh, I think I know why I'm not able to share that. I don't even know where I am. Why is not sharing? Oh, I know why. Sorry. Yeah, I know that. I was just playing with that. Yeah. You can see it there, right, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Sorry for that. It's just like a lot of things. Yeah. Cool. Nice. There we go. I did to the share. Oh yeah. Thank you. It just took a while. Because I'm front end. You know, like I just play with colors. Is it on now? Yeah? Yeah? Cool. Sorry for that. Well, this is a bit how like a test using Cucumber and Gherkins would look. You know, like for the sake, for like time's sake, I just implemented a bit the steps we're gonna, well, like the scenarios we're gonna test now. But just letting you know, if you use this approach, you should have this even before starting to code. You know, you should have this when refining all the tasks and all the work you're gonna have to do in order to develop any kind of feature, right? So for this case, I developed like a really silly application, which of course involves cats. Oops. It's nothing fancy. It's just basically like list of cats with their name, a bit like how they behave, and you can like them. And if you do that, you can find them in the favorites page, right? And if you don't have any cats, oops, you don't like cats. Nice. Cool. So if we go back to the code a bit, oops. Yeah, there we go. You know, like feature, we're gonna test if a user can just star or unstar the cats they like. You know, we can give a little bit of an explanation there, which kind of helps to the next developer or whoever is gonna read this afterwards to understand what the feature should be doing. And then we have like this, oops, it's a bit small. We've got like these 3 different scenarios, which it's a bit like how the user should behave, right? It's like a user with no star cats, when they go to the favorites page, they should see like the message which you've seen. Oops, you don't have any like cats. A user with star cats, when they do like one, they're gonna sit here. And then a user with star cats, when they remove it, they should see the message again, right? Easy peasy, just 3 scenarios. Okay, let's do that. So using a bit, there you go. I'm gonna start Cypress. This is, by the way, this is the new Cypress 10 UI. If you haven't seen it or tested yet, it's really cool. It just requires a bit more clicks than the previous one, but it's still really nice. So here we've got our feature. You'll be able to see that now, right now, none of them are passing, of course. Oops, this is here. Right, so let's start testing this. We said we've got different words in order to define all the steps of each scenario, right? So we would be like, let's start with given to give some context. How would our feature start? We would be like giving a user in the main page. Then what has to happen? When the user navigates to the favorites page, then what should happen? Then sees the no star cuts message. Whoops. Easy. Cool. So now the only thing we have to do, like this is what I mean about gherking. You can talk about this. Doesn't matter which kind of profile or role you're talking to. It doesn't matter if it's a product role. It doesn't matter if it's a quality assurance role. Everyone understands what it should be happening here. So each of us, we talk the same language. That's, for me, the thing that brings the most value out of it. So now we only have to implement these steps, right? Oops. Right. Just want to do this. Give me a second. It's this and that, and then is it this one? Yeah. Nice. And then we have given. We have when, and then we have then. Nice. So we basically created the way we're going to implement our steps. So what does a user in the main page mean? Now we're getting a bit more technical here. Like product people probably wouldn't understand that, right? But basically, I don't know if you have used Cypress before, but basically this means that we're going to be in the main path, right? In the main page, which is going to be this one. Easy. Then what it should happen when user navigates, to favorites, but user is not gonna like go here and be like, oh yeah, now I want to go to favorites, right? User is gonna come here and click the favorites button, and that's where the testing library comes handy. So testing library also like helps trying to use semantic HTML, which and helps us as well to be sure that all or like HTML is kind of meeting all the accessibility expectations for any kind of user that may have disabilities in order to use our products. So I'm going to do a find by role here. Oops. Find by role. And then I'm going to use, this is a link, right? And it has a name of favorites. And I'm going to use this because F is capital letter. And I just don't want that. I want to click it. And then we're going to be like, the user now is going to be here. Now I just only have to assert that they're going to look at the message, right? So I can just copy a bit of it and be here and be like, now the user should see on the screen a text something like this. And if we look to our test right now, the test will be passing because the user is, sorry, this is the user is ending as finishing up seeing the message, right? We could even go one step further and be like, no, but Edu, like we've got this link here. What about going back to the main page? Easy. We've got the and operator. The and operator basically repeats the last one. So the and will be like, and can navigate back to the main page. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna come here, do this, replicate it. Oops. And then just change this. And then I'm going to do a bit like the same. I'm going to do find by role. Sorry, which is check all the cats. So the role is going to be a link, right? And the name is going to be to check all the cats. Nice. And then I want to click it. CI URL. I want to assert that the user is going to be actually in the main page, right? So I'm just going to use Mocha syntax here. Should be equal. Where is it now? Sorry, equal to HTTP localhost 1, 2, 3. Bam. So if we go back to the test, oops, no, the test is this one. If we go back to the test, oh, because this is a typo. My bad. See. Oops. So now the test passes. So we're making sure that at least the user, the product we are just about to release, does meet all the expectations for the first scenario, right? Let's move on to the next one, which is a bit more complicated than this one. The scenario we want to test now is the scenario where the user does star cat and can see it in the favorite page. So the good thing about Cucumber is like any step we did like implement before, we can reuse it in other use cases. So it doesn't really matter if we just write the same thing. So we could say the same, a user in the main page. Easy. Now, instead of going straight away to the favorites page, what it has to do is like when marks a cat like favorite, then and navigates to the favorites page, then sees the previously struck cat. Right? So in this use case, if you see this, we're basically reusing two of the steps we previously defined. So we're reusing the code even for the tests we're implementing. So we only have to kind of implement these two. Oops, right? Okay, yeah, sure. This one. Well, I'm gonna delete that one. This, 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 and this. Yep. Nice. So we would have now, we have to implement these two steps. We haven't. Right. So now we can go here and be like, yeah, but how are we gonna like a cat here? It's like, how can we target like the user action that's actually gonna do something like this? Once again, testing library. They've got this this thing that you can basically add an attribute, which is called data test ID, which basically it helps us to target some DOM elements and then work with them. You'll just bear with me a bit, and you'll see how we're going to do that. I'm gonna put a name, like, because we have different cats. I'm just gonna put a cat name card, whatever. Is that, no? That's not okay. I'm missing this. Cool. So now what we have to do when we're doing this of marker like favorite, testing library has this command. It's like find by test ID. So here we can use like, I don't know, let's just pick a random cat. Korat. Let's pick Korat. Come on, Korat. Find by test ID, Korat card. Then I want to within, like inside that card, I'm gonna do something, right? So what I'm gonna do here is like within, oops, sorry, it's just Spanish keyword, oh my God. Yeah, so now what we're gonna do here is like find by role. We're gonna do a bit like the same, but I'm telling you now that star, it's a button. So basically, we're gonna look for a button inside the correct card, and then just click it. Oops. Cool. Now we only have to implement the last one, which basically is make sure that the star card is going to be there. If I, sorry, just press this one and I go here, I just have to assert that the user can see correct, or even just like its behavior definition. So CI find by text means oops. Now, like, I can do the same as that. and correct. So we go to the tests again. Boom, we have it too. So now in basically 89 lines of code, we are testing like more like 66% of our feature, right? So let's move on, because the last one for me is the most interesting one, because we're going to combine a bit of both previous use cases. So we've got this one, right? We've got some user with an already star cat should be able to remove them from the favorites list. So what we're going to do here, here, if we would just like giving a user in the main page, we could do that. And then as all our use cases are using the same given stage, we could use background here. But for the sake of the demo, I'm just gonna like show you a different approach about it, right? So I'm gonna do, given a user with an already star cat, right? When navigates to the favorites page and removes the star, the star from the liked cat, then she's the, how was that? She's, yeah, she's the no star, this one. Oops, sorry. She's the no star cat message, right? So in this one, we're using this one as well, and we're using this one as well. So we don't have to write them. We just need to write this. Oops. This one, and this one. So let's go here. Let's do the same. This is a when. Right. Oh, no. Sorry. This. I'm going to do that. Oh, no. 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 Oops. Now. Nice. So there's this thing in Cucumber. It's called step, right? Now here, we're using the Cucumber syntax in order to define and to say what's actually going to happen in those steps, right? But if you try to think about how the product is going to behave here, like giving a user with a ready star cat, what does that mean? Just look at the previous one. Didn't we start a cat in this one? It's like giving a user in the main page marks a cat like its favorite, right? So we can use these steps. So we don't even have to implement anything else. We can just wrap them in another named step. So how are we going to do this? This is basically called the really original step. In order to use it, and you'll see that now, subscribe me, step, right? Oops, I don't even know how to code anymore. Right, step receives a couple of arguments. The first one is the context. Problem, if we're using arrow functions, we don't have access, we cannot bind the context. So what we have to do here is just basically use normal function. Then we pass by this, and we set that the two steps we're going to use are these ones, right? So I can go here, just paste it. Oops, sorry, I forgot. Got this. Now I can do, whoa. And then I can do this one. So basically, even though we named the step in a different way, it's actually doing the same logic. I didn't even have to implement anything new. I'm always reusing the code, just naming it different. Kind of the same thing happens here, right? With removes and star from a already like car. If you think about it, the user is going to do the same action. If you hear, we can do it. Like in order to like it or to dislike it, the user is doing the same action. We just name it different, right? So if we go here, in order to do that, what we could do is this marks cat as marks a cat like favorite. We could do the same. We could do step. Oh my God, sorry for that. And then we just call this. And if we go to the tests, ooh, something's wrong. She's the no star cut message. Sorry? Oh, yes. Good. Well said. Nice. So now it should work. Oh. Why is that happening? No, cis, because it's not cis probably. Oh, because I'm missing an S here. Nice. So you can see basically it says like that step is not defined. So I just need to make sure that I didn't commit any typo. Oh my. Button. What's happening this now? What's kind of favorite? I'm not saying why I did that wrong. Just give me a second. What does this say? Oh, nice. Cool. Just give me a second. I have to change back to the slide, so it's gonna be just a second. So I'm gonna do this place. No, it's this one. Non-mirror, stop mirroring. Standard display, cool, nice. Yes, and you're seeing that, perfect. Yeah, I have to do this now, I'm sorry. Stop sharing, share, screen, screen two, cool. It's now on it? Yeah, nice, perfect. So, oh, that was really loud. Sorry. So if we do a bit of recap, best thing about this, we can define our test following our product rules, right? We don't even have to think about test. Like product people is going to think for us. We can spend time building cool things instead. Plus, they can be used as documentation. Everyone can read them. Everyone can understand what our test should be doing and how the product or the feature is going to behave. Plus, using testing library, we're making sure that our product is accessible for all those users that might have any kind of disability. And we are making sure that the final user gets the expected value. You know, because when we use behavior-driven development, the more like the closer our tests are the closer tests are to the way our product is going to be used, the more confidence they can bring to us. And that's where it comes to confidence, because when you know you're like the implementation or the code you're working on, it's gonna work as expected. It's just the dream, because you can deploy on Friday afternoon and don't be worried about it, right? Thank you so much for bringing this talk.
Thank you, Eduard. Big thumbs up for also doing live coding on stage. I know it can be very stressful, so
Yeah.
we highly appreciate it.
Oh, sorry.
No, no problem.
Okay.
Keep close. Thank you so much for attending, everyone. We're still gonna stick around for a little bit. The pizzas are coming, so if you think like, why is this a meetup without pizzas? That's not the case. They're actually underway. There's still beers in the fridge as well, so in case you like to have beer or something else, obviously, feel free to do so. I would like to say one more time, thank you to all the speakers, to Willa Luz. We also have our marketing intern with us this time around. She's in back. She's a little bit shy. She's already giving me evil looks at the moment. But her name is Valeria. She has put in a lot of effort to organize this road trip together with me. So for everyone combined, for yourself showing up here, for Willa Luz, for hosting speakers, and for Valeria, please big applause and enjoy the evening.
Some more drinks, so feel free just to stay. And if you want to ask any questions, just let me know for the day. Thank you.